agreed to, I'm sure there'll be a provision that says 75% agreement in terms of a decision. I'm not aware that there's anyone else in the running, but that there's nothing to stop them advertising and seeking a new chair.
Turn it on.
Okay.
Test it.
Right, we're going to test them.
I'm happy to move option 2.
I'll second that.
We had a mover and seconder. You got Deli and Robin.
Okay, so Delhi, you're moving items 1 and 2. Yep. All right. And the seconder was
Robin.
Robin, you're seconding 1 and 2. So we'll put the motion.
Agreed.
All those in favour?
Aye.
No, the
One
first
and
is to
two.
receive
Recommendation.
report. Page 199. Right. All those in favour?
Aye.
No. Yeah. So page 199, Gary. Those against, please. John Grant.
I'll just abstain because I.
Very. Okay.
Abstaining I was because it's going to go through and I just wanted to make a point, which I think John made a good point, that it needs refreshing.
All right. Have you got your numbers?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Okay, so that is carried 4. All right. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Time's
This
lunch,
Joe.
12:30.
This one needs some look at. This will take a while.
12:15. Sure.
Happy to move.
Page 204, Chief
Second.
Executive, terms of.
Yeah, seconded. Yeah.
Gary seconded.
Oh, okay.
Maybe does
Any
some work.
discussion? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you.
That was easy. Hey.
I didn't have to do it. Just while we're
Okay.
dealing with the CEO stuff, Lynn, I'd just like to remind every councillor the survey is out and for them to participate and fill it out. Councillor survey regarding
But to be done in conjunction with the more recent piece of email that was sent out with some more information.
just do the survey.
The second email came out saying here's some other
Guys,
information.
yeah, thanks for the reminder, but before we head off down a rabbit hole. Okay, so we'll hand over to Aileen, please, for Chief Executive Report.
Okay, thank you. So I'm hoping we can let Hayden off the hook, given we've already talked about financials. That's okay? Excellent. Okay, so just to note, we now have a record number of Lagoima requests. I just comment this is taking up a huge amount of staff time and quite a lot of senior staff time, because there's quite a lot of risk in putting some of these responses together, and in particular some of the more complex ones. We're having to try and manage people down to something that's manageable without restricting their access to information. So there's actually quite a lot of nuance in this, and risk and risk of challenges as well to our responses. Bearing in mind that all the folk that use our Lagoima process, they have the right to information, but it also creates costs to the ratepayers, because there's it's quite challenging to try and charge people. We're charging generally has them narrow the scope, so that's kind of useful in that respect. But we have quite a number of staff in this team. I'm just looking at Donna. We have potentially certainly an FTE too. 2 part-time folk. Yeah, okay, so 1.5 FTE working full-time on Lagoimas. So that's a cost to the ratepayer. So every time somebody accesses our systems for information, that's a ratepayer cost.
Is this something other councils, I mean, in your movements, are you talking to other CEs and is it just us or?
Everyone gets them, but I was reviewing a couple of agendas recently and another council I was reviewing, they have 3 in the 6-week period. And you look at us and we've got 3 pages of them. So I think particularly we're getting a lot of particularly complex ones, and some of them are nationwide as well. So that like the likes of the Taxpayers Union will request something from every council, but quite a lot of ours are actual local people requesting information. Which they're entitled to do. It's just the balance of how do you provide the information without incurring a huge amount of cost on ratepayers.
Sorry, before you go ahead, John, did you have a question of Aileen?
Yes, I have a question. I see that there's quite a few CCTV here for organisations. Have you considered just having an MOU or a general agreement that allows police and maritime or the regional council access to the CCTV?
Probably not, because we have to have we're responsible for the privacy of the information, so that there's probably a bureaucratic process sitting in behind that we would need to have a look at. We can certainly have a look at it, but I think it's more complex than just saying, hey, here's the login details. There's a whole paperwork in back end of it to protect people's privacy that we would have to go through. The other aspect we have been trying to do is trying to do proactive release, but the team have been so busy doing that when there's a bit of a gap, they can have a look at getting stuff out proactively.
Can I ask a question? So looking at all this, do you sort of then seek what might be root causes, which are kind of a little bit the CCTV thing? Hey, it's all CCTV. You know, what are the root causes? Why do we have 3 pages and not 3, and so on? Has there been any analysis and thought gone to that?
Well, that's sort of where the proactive release policy was heading, was to try and head some of them off at the path, so to speak, and actually proactively release it, so we don't then have to go looking for the information. But as I said, we just haven't had enough time and resource to put into that proactive release. I wonder if it's worth a discussion at the Risk and Assurance Committee when Alison is appearing for her second to last time, to have a conversation about ways and means of managing the Lagoima side of it. Okay. RFS data is, do we need to get Brian up to talk, or are we happy just to move on past that?
I'd just like to make a comment on the RF system. I think it's really improving, fantastic. And people are getting information back to them, responding, things are getting done. I think we've progressed this amazingly forward from it used to be. So well done to that crew, fantastic.
Did you want to comment, Brian? Brian's been the driving force behind that.
I know he's in comms.
No?
No, nothing really to add other than Councillor Grant made the request last time that in between the quarters we will just bring a high level update. So in the CE report, and that's just on the progress of the project. So we've had a little bit more traction recently with Donna's support. We've now gone and spoken with all activity areas to start to rationalise their RFS codes and get the right setting for kind of our commitment to the customer and how long things should take. We haven't done this review since I've been here, so it's been about 8 years. So I think now that we've started to get that traction, we'll start to see some system changes, which will then lead to some better reporting. But I tend to agree with Terry that closing the loop has improved. We don't receive the same level of frustration. However, at a high level, I'd still say we're slightly slow and to respond. And so that's probably the next thing we're focusing on.
Yep, so still some way to go. It's been a good project though, as I think I mentioned last time, that it really reaches into the organisation, and many of the teams have had. Yep. Where are we? So solid waste again, where there's a discussion there about solid waste. Just at the bottom on page 219, the bottom 1/3 of the page, just indicating there that there's a consultation process open, and staff have kind of run out of time and to get something through council. So I just wanted to indicate those 4 bullet points there is the intention that we'll put in a submission along those lines. I understand the staff had already been involved with the Ministry for the Environment before the proposals came out, so they'd already made some input into it then, but that's the input we're proposing. Perhaps outside of the meeting, let me know if there's anything you want amended out of that, and we can look at that. That's the rest is probably fairly you're probably fairly up to speed with. Just the emergency management. This was written some weeks ago now, and we've had another 2 events since then, but tracking reasonably well. I think there were some just minor little hiccups in some of the communications, and the tide. The tide seems to cause quite a bit of problem as it goes up and down, and people don't know if roads are open or not. So there's probably a bit of room there for better communication between us and NZTA. I think I expressed it to the NZTA team that after Cyclone Gabriel, we were so in tune with each other. We were effectively walking on water trying to doing our communications, but things have just slipped a little bit as the NZTA team have turned over. So work in progress there, but going reasonably well. Also just want to basically just say how proud I am of the staff teams that have been working on the 3 consultation processes. There's been a huge amount of work behind the scenes, and yesterday I think we heard the number of 600 and something submissions on one of the processes, and 150 on another, and 200 plus on another. So just well done to our teams for pulling together all of that consultation. I'm sure it's not perfect. I'm sure there's all sorts of bits that could be done better, but we've made it this far. So I just wanted to say thanks for the staff, and particularly the leadership team who have kept that together and running.
Martin had a question, and then Peter.
Yes, Aileen, just around the consultation on the communication about the consultations. I have had 3 or 4 different people have come up to me and said, oh, we only got an email about the public meetings on the day. Is it safe to assume, and it might be a question for our comms people, is it safe to assume that those emails were just follow-up ones saying, hey, like a don't forget, or were the main ones within that, the one that goes out to people on the Friday?
Michael's nodding, so I'm assuming that's an affirmative to your question, that it was a follow-up.
And presumably, if if you had gotten the email was saying it was a reminder about something that was happening that day, presumably you must then be on the database to get the weekly email. Would that make sense? Right. Okay, thank you. Oh, Donna's just waving at me.
I can probably explain that. I don't know if it's an email or social media they're talking about, but we did on the day when we had very little people turn up to an event, we did go out and send emails. We did go out and put some social media posts up saying, hey, we're here, come down, talk to us. So that could be what you have heard, Councillor.
Thank you for that.
Peter, did you have a question?
Thanks. Am I correct in assuming or understanding that for these consultations we actually tried a bunch of new things? Is that correct?
Probably new to this council or new to this council in recent times, but whether they're new, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. I think it would be really, given the importance that we want to place on consulting with our communities. And I think that's a view shared right around the council table. I think it would be really helpful for us to get visibility of what we have learned about consulting with our community as a result of this jumbo effort, to just make sure that we're capturing the things that are working really well, and also to potentially look at what things we could add to it to make the next lot of consultation, whenever that might be, a really effective event. So I'd be really happy for us to get a report or something around that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well done. All right, thanks, Aileen. Could I get the mover and a seconder to receive the report, please? Delly, second by Peter. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. That's carried. Mayoral Report, same again. I'll move that it be received. Sorry, Robin, go ahead.
Oh, no, I have a question once you've got a seconder.
Sure. Seconder, Terry. All right. Robin, you have a question?
No, I just, obviously we get our lens engagement emails from Rita on a reasonably periodic basis, and I wondered whether this Mayoral Report that comes to us was being written by yourself, or whether it was being written by somebody else and then you were looking over it.
Rita puts it together.
Okay, so you've just got oversight.
And the other one that you get, the intention of that is that a number of councillors said, hey, we would like to have come to that if we'd known about it. So that's an opportunity for councillors to look ahead at events that I might have been invited to. And if they think it's appropriate, that they have an interest in that, they know about it and they can come along or join up or whatever. So the one that you see in here is historical. It's what's been and gone. And yep. The other one that you get once a week is looks back 1 week and then forward, I think, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Does that help?
No, absolutely. But you've had your eye on this one.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, sorry. There is an error in it, that I unfortunately missed your presence at our sustainability and community resilience workshop, and so I just wanted to flag that.
Yeah, sorry, and I should have flagged that. No, I didn't make that one. So, can we just get that amended and
We'll just note that.
yeah, note that in. Thanks, Robin. Appreciate it.
Peter has a question.
Peter, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks. Just once again thinking about the community's expectations and or desires around transparency. I just wonder if this report would be more useful and more transparent if it was not, if instead of just being a what report, it was also be a why report. And so I was thinking, we have the event, whatever that is, why, in other words, what was the purpose? Why was there an online meeting with Jamie Arbuckle? And perhaps another a column which was the outcome, right? So just giving not just so that we know that the mayor is doing lots of stuff, but actually this is the purpose of this bit of stuff that he's doing, and this has been the outcome. A really kind of brief summary thing.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, so I've moved that the report be received. Do you have a Terry second it? All those in favour? Thank you. Right. Shall we go to lunch? No, there is no workshop scheduled for afternoon. Thank you. All right, mover and a seconder to go into public excluded, please. Rika, Delly, all those in favour? Thank you. All right, we need a minute just to. We got in here. Minutes for confirmation. It's just minutes for confirmation. Oh, yeah.